Hello, how are you? I hope you are fine. Let's do common intention and common object. What is the difference between common intention and common object given in Indian Penal Code? So section 34 IPC says when a criminal act is done by several persons in furtherance of the common intention of all, each of such persons is liable for that act in the same manner as if it were done by him alone. So it means when a criminal act, it is done by several persons, more than one persons. Minimum persons required for section 34 or common intention is more than one persons. They may be 2 persons, 3 persons, 4 or any number of persons, but minimum number is 2, more than 1. So when 2 or more persons, they do a criminal act and they did this act in furtherance of the common intention of all. Actually they made a plan. There was a pre-concert, there was a pre-plan, they planned this act. There was a meeting of minds of all these persons. Each person of that group knew about the plan. It's not the case that a particular person of a group, he says to the court when he is charged with section 34 along with any other section that I was unaware, because section 34 only applies when he was aware of his deeds, when he was aware of the plan. He must be aware of the planned way in which the crime has been committed. There was a pre-concert, there was actual meeting of minds. For example, there were 4 persons. Each person was assigned a specific task. For example, they were to loot a bank, they were to commit a bank robbery. In that case, one person would go into the bank with his mask, and there was the other person who is there in his car and he is keeping the car in a driving mode, he is keeping the car in on mode, so that once that person comes back while after looting the bank, he will drive the car immediately. One person goes along with him to help him in the loot of the bank, and the third person is standing near the gate of the bank so that he can protect them from any police or any other security guard. So all of the 4 persons are doing their own bit. They are performing their own tasks which they have assigned to themselves. They had made a plan earlier, they had met earlier, there was prior meeting of minds, they actually had a very detailed discussions. It may not be a detailed discussion, it may not be a very detailed pre-planned way, but there was a little bit plan. There must be a plan. They actually knew what was going into the plan, or what they are about to do in that plan. They actually knew their own tasks. They were to perform their own duties. They jointly did this plan, they jointly did this act. It's not the case that any person says that I was not aware of this thing. No, he is aware of this thing. He actually participated in that act, and there was common intention of all. Very important. There was a joint action of all these 4 persons. There was a common intention to loot the bank. All the persons will be held guilty. I mean to say, they all will be charged of this section robbery along with section 34. Section 34 itself is not an independent offense. Section 34 is not an independent substantive offense. It always applies with some other section, some other independent section, like for example murder 302 or rape 376 or riot or robbery or any other person. So this section 34 is not a substantive offense. It always applies with some substantive offense. It applies only when several persons, more than 2 persons, they in furtherance of their common intention, each of such person is involved in that plan to commit that crime. Each of such person is involved. They are jointly involved in that plan. There was a joint action of all these persons. So if the crime is committed, at the end all these persons, for example in that example bank robbery case, all the 4 persons will be liable of the same offense, that is bank robbery. It will be presumed that each one of those persons, each one of those 4 persons have committed that bank robbery, and he was alone in committing that bank robbery. It is presumption of law. He alone has committed that bank robbery. Because why? Because he was knowing the plan. He was involved in that plan. There was a prior meeting of minds of all those 4 persons. So in this way, section 34 is a very important section. It applies when there is a group of persons and they provide encouragement to each other, they provide trust to each other, they provide satisfaction to each other that yes, that person is with me, my accomplice is with me. So they try to dominate that place. They try to be fear free, because a person who is alone, he always fears something. He always fears law, he always fears police. But when accomplices are there along with him, he feels a little bit powerful. So to prevent these type of things, section 34 is there in our IPC, and it is actually based on there is a word vicarious liability, you must have heard in jurisprudence. So it is based on vicarious liability. For the act of one, the other person is liable. This is known as vicarious liability. ठीक है, तो this is known as common intention. In Hindi we say सांझा इरादा. In Punjabi also we say सांझा इरादा. So it is based on the topic vicarious liability. For the act of one person, other person is also held to be liable if the other person also shared the common intention with the person who actually committed the act. It is not the case that everyone should be committing the final act. No, the final act may be committed by any person of the group, but actually all those persons will be liable for that final act with the aid of section 34. For example, there is a murder, then all those 4 persons will be liable for section 302 murder, while adding section 34 to section 302, because they all were involved in that murder by pre-planning that murder. All were assigned specific tasks. Each were to perform his own task. There was a joint action, there was a joint participation. Each person participated in the murder, though in its own way. Every person may not have hit the victim with a gandasa or with a pistol. The victim may have been hit by the pistol by one of the assailants, but the other 3 were with him. They were providing support to him. They were doing their own tasks. So it was a joint action. So everybody of them will be liable under section 34, that is murder. They have committed murder. So each one of them may not have actually hit that person with a pistol, but it will be presumed that he has actually hit, because he was actually supporting the murderer. He was his accomplice and he was sharing the plan with him. So this is actually common intention. So common intention is very important in section 34. You must be knowing this. And what is common object? Common object is given under section 149. It is a little bit different from common intention. It says that every member of unlawful assembly. First, you must be knowing what is unlawful assembly. It is given under section 141. I need now to repeat that section in this lecture, because this lecture is only about common intention and common object. So what are the common objects? The common objects are given under section 141. You just read it. So every member of unlawful assembly, first of all, unlawful assembly is that assembly in which 5 or more persons are there. In common intention there are 2 or more persons. In common object there are 5 or more persons. This is the main difference. So there is an unlawful assembly. There are 5 or more persons standing in a place, and they are to commit some object. There is a common object in their minds, and what is that common object? That common object is given under section 141, and it's an illegal act. Basically, whatever illegal act that is given under section 141. So every member of that unlawful assembly is guilty of that offense, whatever offense is committed by any person of that assembly, okay, in the prosecution of the common object. Now common object may be any object. First of all, I will read the definition for you. If an offense is committed by any member of unlawful assembly in prosecution of the common object of that assembly, such as the members of that assembly knew to be likely to be committed in the prosecution of that object, every person who at the time of the committing of that offense is the member of the same assembly is guilty of that offense. So what is the difference between common object and common intention is that in common object, the persons who are involved in the committing of that object, they are first of all more than 5. So it's a big group as compared to common intention. And in Punjabi we say peed, in Hindi we also say peed. भीड़ इकट्ठी होगी किसी जगह पे, है ना, तो that's known as that भीड़ is the subject of section 149. That भीड़ is the subject of section 149. So in a group of people, in a large crowd where everybody is in a Josh mode and everybody is about to commit some crime, and there is a common object of that assembly. There is an object for which they have gathered, and there are lots of people, more than 5 people, and they are about to accomplish that object. Now during the process of accomplishing that object, there is some other crime being committed by any member of that assembly. Just you listen to this, it's very important. Their object is something else. The group of persons are more than 5. Their object is to commit some any legal object, and they are proceeding towards their object. But while proceeding towards their object, some members of that assembly, or even one person or two persons of that assembly, they have committed some crime, some illegal act, and that crime committed by them, that thing is likely to be known by the whole group. Actually, assembly must be knowing that this thing might have happened during the process. You see, this is the thing. The assembly members must be knowing that likely such type of crime may be committed by any member, though they are not sure, but once they are members of the group, so they must be likely knowing that some member may commit this type of crime in pursuance of the common object. So if any member of that assembly commits any crime during the pursuance of the common object, which is a different object to be accomplished, and object, this crime is part of that thing. This crime committed by any member of that assembly is during the pursuance of obtaining committing that object. So in the pursuance of committing that final act, some persons have done something, some crime. So for that crime, every member of that assembly will be liable. This is the main difference between section 149 and 34. In 34, there is a crime committed by more than 2 persons, and all those persons are involved in committing that crime. They all made a pre-plan. There was a pre-plan, there was a pre-concert, there was a meeting of minds. They actually knew what is to be committed at the end. And if that thing is committed, that crime is committed by any one of them, all of them will be liable. It will be meant that if one person, single person of that group is liable for that act, because there was prior meeting of minds. So it is also based on vicarious liability. This section 149 is also based on vicarious liability and joint liability. In this, if any member of the large group, more than 5 persons, commits any crime during the process of committing some larger act, there is a larger object of the assembly which is more than 5 persons, there is a larger object to be accomplished, but while accomplishing that object, some person of that large assembly committed some different crime, so which is likely to be committed, and the assembly persons knew that this could have been done, this could be the possibility, they already knew that these are the certain elements in our group which are little bit violent, these persons are little bit violent and they may be committing this type of crime. For example, any person in that large assembly may be having a pistol in his pocket, or a chaku, or this knife in his pocket, and every other persons of the assembly also knew that he is having a pistol or a chaku or a knife or a talwar. So it's possibility that he may be using that, or he may be committing that crime with his pistol, and they already knew about this thing. It was a possibility. First of all, they would not have allowed this type of person in the assembly, but in large crowds, it's not possible. And one thing more, in common object under section 149, because there is a large group, more than 5 persons, as compared to common intention where there is a small group. In common object, every person of that large group may not be knowing the pre-plan or actual prior meeting of minds may not be there. Each person of the PED or that bigger group may not be knowing what is going into the mind, in the minds of the other person, because large group of persons, very big group of persons, so each person may not be knowing what is in the mind of the other person, but they know about the common object of that assembly. This they know that there is some common object for which we are here together, and we are to accomplish that common object. Now how to accomplish, what to accomplish, that's a different thing. What is going on that person's mind, what is going on that person's mind, what is going on in this person's mind, nobody knew actually. They are there to accomplish that common object. There is no prior meeting of minds, there is no pre-plan, there is no plan anyway, as compared to section 34 where there is a pre-arranged plan by the persons of a small group. So there is no pre-plan in section 149, that is common object. But they are there to support each other. There is a big group and they are about to commit that bigger crime, or they are to accomplish that bigger object. So this is the thing. In order to accomplish that bigger object, that assembly, which is consisting of more than 5 persons, it is their joint liability. If any one of those persons commits a crime or any illegal act during the process of doing that object or obtaining that main object, some other crime is committed by any member of that assembly, then all the members, each member of that assembly will be presumed to have committed that crime. Each member of that assembly is presumed to have committed that crime, because it's a joint liability, it's a vicarious liability. Nobody would be spared, because they all are one in action. They all have provided support to each other. Though they may not be sharing actual plan in their minds, but they must most probably knowing that this might have been happening, this might have happened during the process. So in that way, they all will be held guilty. So basically, section 34 and 149, both these sections are basically for joint liabilities. Both sections are basically for vicarious liability. In these sections, actually, it is very important that in these type of cases, when more than 2 persons, or for example in this common intention more than 2 persons, and in common object more than 5 persons, they actually support each other. It is their encouragement, support and trust with each other which law takes into account, because then it's a very serious case. one person while committing crime, he's little bit thinks about the consequences. He thinks that if I commit this type of crime, this will be the consequence. He is little bit in fear. He may be fear of law, it may be fear of something else, but he is actually reluctant to commit that crime because he is just single person. Nobody is to help him. But if there are large number of persons, more than 2 as in case of 34 and more than 5 as in case of 149, then there is a big boost in their confidence to commit that crime. To challenge that boost, to break that boost, to break that confidence, law has made section 34 of IPC and section 149 on IPC, which are very important sections. And these are very important sections as far as your UGC NET exam is concerned, law, and even for your judiciary exams. So it's very important. Section 149 is a substantive offense. It can be charged separately by the court while framing charges. Section 149 needs a separate charge, but section 34 doesn't need a separate charge because it's not a offense in itself. It's not a distinct offense as compared to section 149. It applies, or it will be added with other substantive offenses like murder, rape, etc. So this was the lecture. I hope you like the lecture. Thank you very much and subscribe this channel. Thank you. So nice of you.